Hello students, still talking about Earth's interior here. I'd like to give you a little more background information with regard to Earth's crust. This information is real critical with regard to our understanding of plate tectonics. So we'll just spend a few minutes on this. If you don't have this diagram printed out, go ahead and pause this video clip and make this simple sketch. About a half sheet of paper should be adequate, and of course label it just like we have, please. Okay, so take a look at the two types of crust, continental, oceanic crust. You can see at first blush they're kind of different, and we want to list how they're different from each other. So I'm going to put a little line here to separate these two. Continental crust, you can see, is much thicker than oceanic crust. On average, continental crust approaches 50 miles in thickness. So we're going to put here that it's thicker. And in parentheses, I'll mention that it's approximately 50 miles thick. That's pretty thick. Let's compare that over here with the oceanic crust. You can see much, much thinner according to my sketch. So we'll list that here. Thinner. How thin is thin? Well, typically it's about 8 miles in its thickness. So roughly 8 miles thick, which is still fairly substantial, but nothing compared to the continental crust. Another difference between the two, continental crust is mainly composed of a rock called granite. So we'll put that here, composed mainly of granite. Granite has a low iron, Fe, content. Oceanic crust, composed mainly of a rock called gabbro. And a related rock called basalt. We now have vessels that have been drilling into the oceanic crust, and this is what they tend to bring up. Once they get through all the sediment and sedimentary rock on the ocean floor, they're tapping into gabbro and basalt. Very abundant. These rocks have very similar compositions, and they're both high in Fe, high in iron. So already we have two fairly significant differences between the two types of crust. The other is related to composition. So do little bullets here. So the third bullet is the fact that continental crust is less dense than the oceanic crust. We'll say it has relatively low density. And the reason for that is because it's low in iron. Contrast that over here to our gabbro and basalt, high in iron, and I think you can read the writing on the wall here. We're going to have relatively high density for the ocean crust. So these are significant differences between the two types of crust, and when we talk plate tectonics, you'll see why this is important. So keep it in mind. Note that over here on the left-hand side, I have highlighted the fact that together the crust and the uppermost mantle form the lithosphere, and as we've discussed in the past with our Earth's interior diagram, this is all solid, man. Deeper underground, we have our asthenosphere. I'm hoping you recall that the asthenosphere behaves as a liquid. It's a very thick liquid. So that brings us up to date on topics we've discussed, with the focus up here on the different types of crust. Any questions? Go to the chat room, send me an email. Have a great day. Bye.